You're a member of Congress?
In social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on, and Joe Biden is attempting to complete. Programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation, Medicare, Medicaid, labor unions. And he still is working on it.
No, that's our first official sponsored ad.
Provided
by the Joe Biden campaign.
Go Biden. I mean, like, how is that stuff bad?
Yeah, I mean...
And how is, like, her... First off, her whole dog whistle of urban problems. It's like, we know what you're talking about. So way to sneak that one in there. But then her sitting there talking about rural poverty, too. I'm like, how are these dum-dums that like her not picking up on that? I'm like, she doesn't want you getting help.
Yeah.
What the...
Her own constituents.
Right. The people she represents.
Now, good move on the Biden administration and his campaign staff for just turning that into a joke, because when you listen to that, I'm like, she's not really saying anything bad there.
That sounds pretty good.
Who wouldn't want those things?
Yeah.
Like, it was... it was like, this is supposed to be a cut down? Like, you're supposed to try it.
Yeah.
You're trying to cut down Joe Biden? I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But hey, she gave him a pretty solid endorsement there.
Right? I think he made a joke like that. I never thought I'd hear an endorsement from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
He said something like that, something to that effect.
Yeah, and God, doesn't her voice just grind your gears?
Every time I have to hear it. And I'm not yet, like, my own voice a lot of time grinds my own gears, but hers is like way worse. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I'm just like, oh, just stop talking. Can't you go a day where you don't make an ass of yourself?
Yeah. So we thought we'd mix it up a little bit, get away from politics and, get, other than that was a campaign ad, so we had to play it, right? I mean, they're sponsoring us now.
Right.
So we had to play it. But, grinds my gears. And I think we'll go, let's go counterclockwise. I'll start. And sometimes the best ideas for podcasts are brought up by conversations that we have after the podcast. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And we had started on this conversation like after last week's or 2 weeks ago, the podcast. And one thing that grinds my gears is...
I think Terrence came up with the name.
Grocery stores, but the people that eat in grocery stores, before they pay for it. Mm-hmm. Like you see them with like the little bag of Doritos and they're eating them.
Or they don't pay at all. I've seen stuff just shoved in, the wrappers like shoved in on shelves.
My uncle is guilty of this.
If you're listening.
I love him to death, but the first time I seen him do it, I thought it was the most wild thing I've ever saw. Like, wait, are you eating the banana like while we're walking through the store? Like taking a sip out of like a cranberry juice, like with a bag of chips that you have ate. He's like, yeah, I'll pay for it when I get up to the register. Like, yeah, you're going to throw a banana peel up on the...
Just toss that shit aside. No, I don't mind like the grocery stores, like leave the bananas out and the fruits for little kids and stuff like that to keep them, in control while you're shopping. I mean, that's cool and shit. But I'm talking about the adults that do that shit. It just disgusts me. Because grocery stores, for the most part, don't seem the most sanitary places to me.
No, they aren't. You are correct.
Yes, you work in retail. I mean, you must have seen this kind of stuff.
Yes, I see it all the time. Because one of my grinds my gears is people who bring their pets. And we're not talking about service animals. Like service animals, totally fine. They have a job to do and we love them even more for that because, I love animals. But people who just bring their animals into grocery stores just because they don't want to leave them at home for a few minutes.
It's like, who does that really affect? It's more the person is kind of pathetic. It's like, you don't think your dog can stay home while you go to the grocery store.
Yeah, Rufus has separation anxiety, but I couldn't take that little bastard anywhere.
No.
And then like sometimes they use the bathroom in the store, like
Ew.
just like you said, like grocery stores aren't the most sanitary places. Like now you see people come in with like birds on their shoulders and
Birds.
birds. Like people bring birds in there.
What is wrong
Like
with
an emotional
people?
support parrot?
Like I don't I don't know, but like you said, like support animals are fine, but they can't. I guess there's no rule. Like they're supposed to tell people they can't bring them in, but
they don't
people just
enforce
bring them in. Yeah, they don't really enforce it. So,
They just don't care and they come in anyways.
yeah. So like people will bring all types of. You'll see people carrying dogs and stuff, and then they touch on the stuff. And
So they've even given up on having the fake service belt or the service harness thing.
yeah, some people don't even do that anymore. Like they'll just be like,
Usually, I've seen people before like lie too. They're like, it's a service animal, and it's like, then why doesn't it have its vest on? You know?
and then like the dogs in there just like barking at people and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's not a service animal.
Yeah, Rufus is supposed to be an emotion support dog, but he stresses me out more than he calms my nerves.
He's a psycho. Yeah.
Shit. What else have you seen, like in a grocery store?
Shoot. People who come in there. So there's some people who have too many cats.
Oh.
And they will come into the store and they will smell like their clothes will smell like that's their litter box.
Cat piss.
Oh.
And it'll just cat pee. And like the smell will just waft like through the store. And it's just like, you won't even want to give them like customer service, like because the smell is just so strong. Like it's like, let me take like 10 steps back. And
You're like, if I start talking, I'm afraid I might just vomit. You
Yeah,
know, and that
and-
wouldn't be appropriate.
and it's like you're around food and you smell like this. Like, how do you don't smell it? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're around it, though, you kind of lose your sense of awareness and your smell towards yourself. You know, but I get what you're saying, dude. I had this thing because I was in customer service in an automotive business, and I don't like people getting up into my space, like too close. Like, here, stand this far away from me.
Yeah.
My arms extended for the people that can't see.
Yeah, that's why I like that 6 foot rule during COVID.
Yeah. But people would get right up there, and I would take a step back, and they would step closer. I would take a step back. They would take a step closer. I'd take another step back, and I'm like, you don't get it, to you, what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be
I
rude,
know.
but...
Well, people do that in the grocery store. Oh my God, if you're like standing in line and the people who will stand right on your ass and then you like try to move up a little and they're like, and you're like, dude, I can't go any further. Now I'm in the person in front of me's space. I'm like, back up.
I do this thing, you know, like people be in the grocery store and they'd be on their cell phones, but they're standing, of course, right in front of what you want to get. So I'll just step back and, you know, I just kind of just not give them a dirty look, but just kind of just have this like indifferent, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Just watching,
just stand there.
waiting for them to part the seas.
Yeah, and I had this one lady go, you could have just said, excuse me. I was, oh, I didn't want to be rude. You could have been self-aware, notice your surroundings. I'm standing right there for 2 minutes.
You should have told her that. Did you say that? You could have been self-aware?
No.
I would have.
No,
I've been like,
Caution.
how? Well, if you knew I was standing here, you couldn't have said, "Oh, I'm sorry" or something. You know? Well,
The one time that I was doing that, and because I'm very self-aware in the grocery store, but I got a text, and I just really looked down at my phone kind of quick, and then I looked up, and this person was just reaching like right in front of my face. I was just like, dude, get out of my face.
right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. My gear grinding thing for this week would
What
have
grinds
to be
gears?
what grinds my gears is people who will be, you see them barreling down a road and they're passing people as they're going. Okay, cool, fine. You know, you're in a hurry. Then for some reason they get up and they just sit there and I'm like, dude, it's still a broken yellow. Like, still a broken yellow. Why can't you pass me? What's going on? I mean, I had to turn my turn signal on to make it look like I was going to be turning right to finally get this dude to go around. I'm like, You made it all this way passing people, but then you're like, all right, this is where I'm staying. It's just annoying. And and then the folks who will, then sometimes on the reverse of that, it's like they will pass you, get in front of you, and then make a right-hand turn, and no one's behind you. You're like, really? I mean, you couldn't have just waited and then turned, and you didn't have to speed up, go around me, hit your brakes so that you could still make your turn. Oh, just annoying.
My other grind my gears one is like motorcycles. And yeah, I'm all for be aware when there's motorcycles around, be aware of your surroundings and stuff like that. But nobody ever talks about the motorcyclist.
Yeah, they always grind my gears.
Yeah,
Where
I had this one in a similar situation.
They're not aware of shit.
I was leaving work, and you know where I work, industrial complex outside of town.
Right.
And it's when all of the businesses get out about the same time. And I see this guy on his motorcycle, and he's passing everyone on the left-hand side. And at first I assume, well, he's just going to go up to the stop sign and take a left. But no, he does it. And luckily I was like looking at him in the mirror. You know, I'm like going, what's this guy doing? Mm-hmm. And he gives me a little hand motion. And he gets up to the stop sign where I was just about to turn right. And he turns right in front of me to go right. Now, so he passes me on the left to go right. Now, what if I had not been looking in the mirror?
He would be ran over.
And I sort of, because it pissed me off enough, because I called you right afterwards, I was just like, part of me just wanted to pull out and not dump him, but just enough, just a little bump. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you doing, man?
I know. Why is it? It's like, you know, they have all the bumper stickers everywhere. It's like, look out for motorcycles, blah, blah, blah. But some of these motorcyclists, not all of them, there's a lot of them that don't bother me, but some of them just take it as, well, everybody has to look out for me so I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can drive as shitty as I want, and everyone's supposed to be looking out for me.
Yeah. 2 days later, same guy, and it was 7 o'clock in the morning going into work. And you know how it backs up right before like the hardware store outlet, you know,
right.
Warehouse. And again, he doesn't want to wait in line. He goes out and he passes everyone on the left-hand side so he can get up to the stop sign so he can get to work before everybody else. Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing was the guy was smoking a cigarette at the time too.
Oh my God.
No helmet, smoking a cigarette.
He's a multitasker.
It's like you lose 100% of the time if you're on a motorcycle and you get into an accident.
Yeah.
Like the motorcyclist loses 100% of the time.
Right.
Well, I had the same thing happen to me. I was on a motorcycle once and just going down this side road, and some lady just wasn't paying attention because she had a bunch of kids in the car. And she pulls out in front of me. But that wouldn't have been as bad as she pulled out and stopped right in front of me. So I had to, you know, lock up the brakes, turn sideways, and I skidded sideways all the way up to her door. And she did like the, oops, and I just reached out. I did like the little onto her door with my foot. You know, like, pay attention.
Wake up. Jeez.
Any crazy driving stories, Terrence? So what happens to you?
There's been a few, even though I haven't been like in any, well, not any serious accidents or anything like while I was driving, but, since we're on the subject of motorcyclists, like when they drive like in the middle, like,
yeah. So
like it'll be like lock up traffic, and then you see like motorcyclists like passing by, like just barely missing like your mirrors. Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. And it's just like, man, what if somebody like, well, since we're in traffic, you know, let me open my door or whatever.
Yeah. Do
whatever, ash, spit, pour something out. Like, you hit that door, like,
you're gonna go flying.
Yeah, it's taking you out. Like, and it's, you know, it's just, I just think like,
and whenever that happens, you know, you end up following a person and you realize that they just get to their destination 20 seconds before you anyways.
Yeah. Or you guys will stop at the same light. And it's just like, so you did all that, and like, here we are again. Like, You were trying to pass me, and we're both at the same light. Like, but I do have another grinds my gears. Not on the subject of motorcyclists and stuff, but people. We live in Arizona. You have to start wearing deodorant in public.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially this time of year when it's 100 degrees for how many days in a row? Yeah.
Yeah, humid, and it's like you still, and it's like I get it. Some people have some conditions but there's even like medicated like deodorant and stuff for that. So like,
Yeah.
it's like we got to do better. We got to start being like a little bit more decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of my customers, and she was one of these people. And even though we like sold tires, she would come in, but she was like allergic to everything. You ever had those people like they're allergic to all sorts of soap and everything like that?
They're called.
But it's really kind of.
They're called EIs, and I forget what it's like. Environmentally, oh God, I always forget what the I is. There's a movie that Julianne Moore plays the lead character in it that it turns into one of those people where they're allergic to everything. They're allergic to like dishwashing detergents, like any kind of detergent actually, like laundry detergent. They're just allergic to. I don't know if some of it's in their head or, I mean, some of it though, it's like there's a community here that lives out in Dolan Springs that are like that.
Meant.
Okay, that makes sense. And there has to be something to it that they are sensitive to the chemicals, but I think once it starts with them, it will it manifests and it's just, then it turns into everything, And part of me feels sad for them, but it's like then they expect the whole rest of the world to change to accommodate them also.
Well, she was also one of these people who are like the Better Call Saul's brother, where, you can't be around,
the electric things
electric
too?
things.
Yeah, they are like that.
But this was the thing, like, because she needed to make a call. I'm like, you want to use my cell phone? She goes, no, I can't use cell phones. But I went and got in her car and I drove her, but I had my cell phone in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it was really affecting her.
Right. Yeah, they have to use special telephones. The house that they live in has to have special building materials in it. They can't have any carpeting. It has to be a certain type of tile. Tile's the only thing they can have in their homes. Has to be certain types of paints. It's a bit wacky.
How do you get through anything though? Because then you couldn't wash your sheets or anything like that.
They wash them like in certain type stuff. They can't wear deodorant, I don't even think they wear like the unscented deodorant. Like, I don't know.
Kind of fucked up. And how did they come up with community out in Dolan Springs?
There's a guy out there that is, and he's sort of a shyster. He claims to be one of them too, but he's not as extreme as the other ones. And so he claims that he can like fix their houses and and stuff like that. But then there's a whole bunch of them so some of them moved from Dolan Springs and they live in Snowflake, Arizona. Because there's a community of them there too.
Wait, there's an area called Snowflake, Arizona?
Yeah, there's a Snowflake, Arizona.
Yeah. That's where they send all the liberals.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd be willing to bet though that it's probably a conservative community. Just because of most of the rural towns in Arizona are usually conservative and pretty religious. Like a lot of it has a huge like Mormon community in the small areas. I mean, we have a big Mormon community here too.
I'm not far from Utah, so
yeah,
it would make sense.
Do you have another grind my gears now?
Oh, I can't think of one off the top
Other
of my
than
head.
driving stuff.
I can't think of anything right now. I didn't like take notes down
Oh,
either.
of course. You didn't want to give the elevator story?
Oh, that guy. It's so kind of stupid too. It's just like on his part when I was coming back from my trip. It's like this guy, we stayed at Golden Nugget and we were walking behind him, we had just got our room keys. It was late at night. We already had to deal with like the whole Uber issue. So we were walking and this guy like drops his beer because he's carrying like 2 things to take out and a beer and he's drunk and whatnot. And it hit just right where it like sprayed up. So then I was like, I even kind of felt bad for him. I'm like, oh, poor dude lost his beer. Like, so we scooted like around him to get out of the way of like the beer and all that. And so we're over at the elevators and they have those elevator things where you have to use your key in order to be able to even push the buttons or whatnot. So it's taking us forever in our elevator. Like we got to the elevator thing first. All these people came behind us. Do you think they let us go in the first available elevator? No, because they were closer to it, so they went and took that one up. I'm like, all right, fine. We'll just wait for the next one. So we get one. The elevator is almost all the way closed. Like you could only see the dude's eyes and nose. And he's like, hold the elevator. And I'm like, I'm still trying to mess around with my key. And I'm like, oh shit, sorry, and he's like, fucking bitch. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What? I'm like, even if I would have tried to stick my hand, I would have lost my fingers. It was like that. It's not going to open when it's already that closed. I mean, you got to like put an arm in there when it starts to.
I don't like people enough that if there's already 4 people on the elevator, I'm just getting on the next one.
Right. And that's the thing too. It's like in this area where we were, there are 8 elevators total. I'm like, dude, there's literally 7 more. Do you really have to be that much of an asshole? Like, you would have made it if you wouldn't have spilled your beer. That's what I wanted to say to him. If you would have never dropped your beer, you would have fucking made it.
Oh, hey, I mean, his chicken wings were getting cold.
He had like 2 things to take out.
Well, he was drunk. He wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, he was like...
He'd have been in there like David Hasselhoff, like eating the cold chicken wings.
I think that's why he was pissed off the most. He had to wait even longer to be able to go eat or something. I don't know what his problem was.
I know, they probably did, find him, like, by the time the elevator got to his floor. He's probably on there like David Hasselhoff, like just stuffing it.
He probably waited till he got in right when he got in the elevator. He probably was like, oh, I can't wait any longer. I just got to start eating now.
My next one is, because I go to a lot of concerts and comedy shows, is the people who, when it's a slow song, or especially during a comedy show, they sit there and talk the whole time.
Why waste the money?
Yeah.
Like, wait, you could have just went to a bar and hung out with your friend there.
Yeah. Like, I went to go see the Killers do an intimate show in Vegas, and it was only like maybe 1,000 people there, which is a small place for the Killers. And the Killers started playing a slow song, and these 2 guys in front of me just started, bah, 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 bah. Hey, what do you want to do after this? Bah, 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 bah. We're just like, you shut up.
Right. And the people that talk in comedy shows, they're...
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, it's like, why waste the money?
Yeah, this shit's not, inexpensive.
Yeah.
Maybe these people are like people who are getting drugged there by their friend. Like they have no idea who the person is, so that's why they're not into it.
Well, the people at the Killers were kind of well-dressed kind of guys, so I probably think that they just got comped the tickets.
Oh, so yeah, they didn't care.
But don't ruin it for everybody else.
I know. Or if it's that boring to you, if you realized you didn't
go to the back,
like it anyways, well, or just leave. If you didn't even pay for the tickets and you're like, we're not really that into it, we'd rather just go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's just like any type of like intimate setting like that, like where there's the movies and people are like having conversations. Like it's just like, come on, man. Like I know you didn't come to the movies to talk to somebody.
Right?
Oh, that happened to me. I forget what movie it was, and I've never had this occur to me in a movie where this guy took a call on his speakerphone during a movie.
What the?
And it was one of those parts where it was right during the beginning of the movie, but it was one of those quiet parts where they were having this conversation, but it was a meaningful conversation to the movie on screen. And he pulls it out, and I literally took my flashlight because I'm like, all right. And both of my kids are looking at me like, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? After about 2 minutes, I literally took the flashlight on my phone and I like directed it so it would hit him in the eyes. And the guy was just like, what the fuck? I don't know, dude. The fuck?
Do you remember where you are? Yeah, I have a good friend of mine that I was like, I went to the movies one time, and I'm like, note to self, don't ever go to the movie with Dave again. Because he's sitting there asking me questions about the movie the whole time, and I'm like,
Watching the same
I
movie.
told you that I didn't see this fucking movie. Why would I know the answers to this? What the fuck are you talking for?
I don't get it.
It's just like, what? Yeah.
I heard people were like bringing their kids to see Sound of Freedom. And then the kids would be like running up and down the aisles because it's probably
boring
not
for them.
It's a boring for a kid movie, I would assume.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why I don't go and see movies on release dates, is because I went to go see, I want to say it was like an Avengers movie, like Age of Ultron, I think it was. Like me and a couple friends went on the day it came out. So the theater is packed, completely full, and we get in there and I shit you not, it is like there's like 7-8 kids like that are just completely out of control, like not in their seats, they're just running around the theater. Like, and I was just like, I'll never do this again. Like, I will wait until like it's like a weekday or something.
Yeah.
And go see the movie.
It's a lot of it's like the parents too. Like I've been to so I went and saw that movie Hard 8 with Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
It was about like the porn snuff films, right? Somebody brought like a 5 or a 6-year-old to see that. I'm not kidding. The kid was crying the whole time. I'm like, who in the fuck would bring a kid to watch this movie?
I went to go see The Joker here in Kingman, and there was a couple people that brought their little kids to see The Joker.
Why would you do that? That's not a kid. That's not a kid's movie either.
Yeah, I thought it was bad when my mom bought us when she went to go see The Bodyguard. Like, we thought we were just going to go see a movie, and it ended up being The Bodyguard, but we were just in there like asleep. So
Fell asleep.
yeah.
I don't know. My parents took me to see Jaws at the drive-in when I was like 5. I think that's why I can't swim to this day.
It's a cool movie.
I saw it at the drive-ins too. There used to be a drive-ins. I don't think it's open anymore down in Phoenix. But we used to go there a lot, yeah. And we'd watch like 2 or 3 movies a night because then you just move to another one, or you'd stay and watch the next movie that came on after it. Because it was super cheap. They were like, shoot, you'd pay like I think like $1 or $1.50 a movie for the whole car, you know. Then you just lay in there and eat your snacks.
Was that the time where you had like the radio?
Yeah, you had to
tune into 97.4.
Yeah, well, at first they still had those things that like hung on your door, but then they switched it over to like where you had to tune into a specific station.
Oh, that way sounded better. Either those speakers used to sound like
I know
shit.
the speakers were a little wonky.
In Vermont, we would go during the summer, but it was right on the Lake Champlain, just north of Burlington.
Right.
But you had to roll down your window and put the little thing
that holder thing.
That holder thing, yeah. But there was always a lot of mosquitoes because they're right next to the lake.
Oh.
And so you could,
and then I'd be getting, that would suck for me. I'd be getting bitten up the whole time. I'd be like, you hear smacks.
Mosquitoes grind my gears.
They really grind my gears.
Thank God we don't have those mosquitoes here.
Well, we do. We do certain times.
Around here?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's whenever there's like, I think we get them sometimes after it rains, like for a long time though, you know, like, because mosquitoes, aren't they attracted to like the standing water?
Yeah.
Or whatnot? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like other, insects that grind my gears. Those little flying gnat things down in Laughlin, especially
Like
when the water gets
no-see-ums?
low. Yeah.
Oh, those things
they're like,
suck.
yeah.
And they'll bite me too. Yeah, I get
You
bit
get
up.
bit by those
I
things?
get bit up by those motherfuckers
They don't
too.
bite me. It's
Laughlin
just,
at night is just, oh man, the bugs are just awful. I took a friend out there and like we were walking. I was like, hey, let's walk the river. Okay. And when you get by those lights and then just all those moths and stuff, I mean, he's just ducking and he didn't like it. It wasn't a good experience for him.
Yeah, you have to put your shirt up over your face because you'll inhale them.
I know. You would think that they would do something like something where it would catch them. Something that they would be attracted to at least lessen them. The casinos. You would think they would.
I think it's like they just kind of like let nature take its course because there's stuff out there that eats them and there's bats and stuff like that at night.
Well, they need more bats then because theirs they're
like
you could see them it just looks like thousands of them.
Like in Florida, you could buy like little bat houses, right? Like and put them like in your front yard or like somewhere around like on your property so that like it attracts bats to it so that they eat the bugs.
Oh,
like all the bugs that come.
Sure. I saw those in North Carolina. I have bats near my house, but I don't really have a bug problem. Well, sometimes little scorpions. So.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like scorpions.
And then you were speaking of the gnats. Like I don't like the ones like as soon as you start like cutting up an onion or something in your house, like you start seeing those little gnats.
Oh yeah.
Like where did they come from? Like how did that get? But they're so tiny. Like it's just like you see one like go by your eyes. Like as soon as you start like cutting up like some vegetables or something.
Yeah, then they go away.
Yeah. As soon as you get rid of it or like put it in a container or something, like they're gone.
Yeah, you can't get rid of them.
That's funny.
All right, can't say more. Grind your gears. Shit.
Yes. People who eat loudly in restaurants.
Oh, God.
Now, I understand all of us weren't taught to chew with our mouth closed, but I don't want to hear somebody smacking on their food like a camel while I'm having dinner. Like, even if they're sitting with me at the table, like I'm like, hey, man,
Yeah. Oh, I can wait to hear what you have to say after you're done chewing, okay? It's cool.
I took my kids to see Across the Spider-Verse for the second time last weekend, and I swear to God, the people behind me sounded like locusts with their popcorn.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Just like chewing like a hamster on there.
I get it at work. I mean, because I take a lot of phone calls a day, and people be calling up asking about product. Meanwhile, and I'll constantly do the thing where I'll take my headphones off. So I'm like, I can't listen to that because I don't know. It just like
it grinds your gears.
It grinds my gears. Fingers on chalkboard.
Yeah.
On it, and then I'll make them repeat what they said. I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Are you on speakerphone? And eventually I think they get it. And
Are you shoving things in your mouth right now?
That's pretty disgusting.
I know.
Yeah, it'll make you lose your appetite. Like, especially if you're eating and you can hear somebody, like, eating. Like, it'll make you lose your appetite.
Yeah, I even, like, friends will call me if they're eating. I'll be like, just call me back in 10 minutes. I won't. I'm just like, nope. I can hear you eating. I'll say it. I can hear. I know you're eating. Just call me back after.
And I apologize to my friends when I'm on the game because sometimes I'll have a snack or something on the game.
Yeah, that's a hard one because you're in your
bro,
own
can you
little
take
world.
The mic away from your mouth, like so I have to flip the mic.
Right.
So guilty as charged.
Yeah. On the headset, yes.
Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, there's a little. I guess we got to get to our next our new subject on it. Weekly subject is try that in a small town. And This week's Try That in a Small Town comes from Charlotte County, Florida, of all places. Why is it always Florida?
Because it's Florida.
But there's this 24-year-old Ariel, and her boyfriend gets pulled over. And they're acting a bit suspicious. And the officer says, is there anything in the car that we should be aware of? And she says yes. And she ends up pulling out her Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle duffel bag. And she has 41 painted striped painted turtles in this duffel bag. Why they were
Painted like the Ninja Turtles?
Who knows? I mean, the movie's coming out. Maybe they're trying to do some promotional thing with these turtles. And the officer was like, well, that's interesting. Is there anything else? And then she proceeds to pull a 1-foot-long alligator out of her yoga pants.
Whoa. No. Is this true?
Yes. Who is shoving a alligator down your yoga pants?
She's not yeah, well, I guess it would keep the alligator's mouth closed how did she get it to stay closed to shove it in there is my
And they can't see, like, they kind of, like, don't fight. So, like, if they're in a dark...
Is that it?
Like, that's why they cover their... Like, when they're trying to, like, subdue one, I guess, or, like, capture one, they'll kind of cover their eyes, like, with, like, a rag or something. Or because when they can't see... It's like
they
a bird.
have two sets of eyelids, like alligators do. They have ones that go, like, horizontally and then vertically.
Yeah, so, like, it's kind of like birds, like, when people cover their cages... Like, when they want them to, like, go to sleep or whatever. Like,
it's night.
How big was the alligator again?
A foot long.
A foot long. Okay.
So
That's a baby alligator.
Yeah.
Because I held a baby alligator. My one of my cousins they live in Louisiana. So they had, like, this Cajun rehearsal dinner place that we went to. And, yeah, they had a baby alligator it was so cute. Like, it was, but he would do that every once in a while. He'd be like,
yeah. Now, as a guy, I can understand why you would want to risk putting a 1-foot-long alligator down your pants.
yeah, I guess it's better that the girlfriend put it
as
in
a
her
female,
pants.
would you feel more comfortable putting an alligator down your pants? So,
Well, at least she doesn't have, like, the low-hanging fruit that the alligator might want to eat. I don't know.
Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, if you're the officer, it's just like,
how many turtles was
it again? How many turtles was it again?
41.
Man, these jokes write themselves. Like, she pulled out a Ninja Turtle duffel bag and had 41 turtles in there.
Yeah.
What are you planning? Like,
I don't know.
What I would have been like, so what are you doing with all these turtles
like
and the alligator?
You live in Florida. Isn't there enough reptiles just like running around that you don't?
You would think
Yeah,
so.
they're all over there. They go in people's pools and stuff.
Have you seen those big pythons that they've been catching down there?
Yeah.
36-foot-long python.
Yeah. They're
nuts.
becoming like invasive to certain areas of Florida. Like there's just so many because people can't take care of them, so they just let them go. Like people will buy them, and then they're just like, "Well, I don't want it anymore," so they just let them go into the wild, and they become like an invasive.
How come Jason Aldean didn't write the song about that? Try that in a small town.
Still 40
Let
some turtles.
Let the python go in your backyard.
It eats people's dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Shove an alligator down your yoga pants.
I saw a snake one time when we went on a cruise, and the stop in, I believe it was in Barbados, and we went to like this little zoo thing to look at like certain type of monkeys that live there, and then they had an anaconda in a cage that was like, I mean, I would have been interested to know how long it was when it was stretched out, you know, because it was huge. Its head was like the size of a giant, like, turkey platter that you would put, like, your Thanksgiving turkey on. I'm like, that thing has to, like, eat a deer or something to keep it full. It was massive. Pretty cool. I mean, I like looking at snakes from afar, but...
I heard this story about reptiles. Grinds my gears about reptiles. I don't know if it was a python or anaconda. It went to go eat a deer, but when it clamped down on the head, the antler pierced its skull.
Ooh. Oh.
Wow.
Anaconda
The
sure
deer.
tried that.
Yeah, the deer got saved.
I don't know if the deer got saved.
Or
Why would anybody want something could eat you?
I don't know.
Like I have a corn snake, but it's pretty friendly. But I think if it got big enough, it would hesitate to, hey, I know you feed me, but
Like I remember seeing like a video on Facebook where like that guy owns like a giant one, and it's like his daughter kind of like is always like cuddled up with it, and it's just like this huge like python, like, and like and then like in the video it says that they're always together, like they grew up together. And I was just like, still a wild animal.
yeah,
Pythons are pretty cool though, because they're not venomous.
Yeah.
So-
And then like if they're in a familiar area, they're usually not aggressive like at all.
Right.
My neighbor used to have a bunch of reptiles, and I don't know. I think this guy like smuggled them or something like that. But yeah, he had an alligator that lived in his bathtub or his spare bathtub, whatever.
Holy crap.
And he would pick it up and it'd be like, yip, 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 yip.
Yeah.
But you would flip it over and rub its belly, and it's true, they just pass out. They're just like, oh. But he pulled out his python, and it had to be like maybe 10, 12 feet long. And it wrapped around him, and you could tell the guy was struggling. He goes, a little help here. And I had to help him like wrestle this thing off.
Right,
I'm
'cause
like,
they're-
why would you want that?
Because they're constrictors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do it. They just do it by nature. Like they'll start
Yeah.
squeezing.
All right, well, there's two of those. So, thank you, Joe Biden, for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for
Endorsing Biden.
endorsing Biden
Way to go.
on it.
We know you didn't mean to, but good job, girl.
All right. So we'll wrap this up, and we will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
And thank you,
Bye.
Terrence, for coming on again.
Yes,
Yeah,
no
thanks,
problem.
Terrence.
I love
All
it.
right, thank you. Bye.